Good evening, and thank you all for coming. I am Jessica Hunter, the office manager at the Green River Chamber of Commerce, and I will be your host for this evening. Tonight's community forum will be broadcasted on the Sweetwater County School District Number 2 YouTube channel. Tonight's community forum will be the second of 3 forums being held. Each night will be a different candidate. These forums are a platform in which is intended to allow the opportunity for district patrons, staff, and community members to hear comments from the candidates that have been selected for Sweetwater County School District Number 2 Superintendent position. This is not an attempt to embarrass or badger the candidate, rather an opportunity to educate the community. The agenda for the first portion will run as follows. The candidate will be given exactly 5 minutes to tell the community who they are and why they are interested in this position. When the candidate has given their opening statement, we will begin the second portion of the forum. Now I would like to introduce the candidate for this evening's forum, Scott Cooper. You will have 5 minutes for your introduction. I will be keeping track of your time. When I raise the yellow card, that means you have 30 seconds to finish your introduction. And when I raise the red card, you need to be finished. I will now turn the time over to the candidate for their introduction.
Great, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm really looking forward to this great opportunity here to be your next superintendent. My name's Scott Cooper. I have 25 years of education experience. Most of that is leading rural systems, rural school districts, and even some larger urban school districts like Mesa 51 and Grand Junction. I've been a principal, I've been a special ed teacher, I've been a career technical education director. I've worn many hats in education over the last 25 years, nearly all of which in Colorado. To that note, I've really appreciated my time as a superintendent, and some of my best years were in Dolores, small rural district, 750 students, southwest corner of the state of Colorado. And we did a lot of large work in a small district. I had a great time making positive changes there for the students, including attracting and retaining some of the best teachers in the region, creating a magnet district effect where parents began to enroll their students from other districts into our district because we were having so much success. We also achieved a best grant during my time there. That's Building Excellent Schools Today. That's a state-funded grant program to build new facilities, and then took that grant out to our community to pass a bond and to put those 2 chunks of funding together to then rebuild 1/3 of that campus so that students could have some new facilities to learn in. It's a great, fun opportunity there, and I miss that work. Lately, I've been working in career technical education with the Colorado River BOCES, and also with online learning opportunities through Classrooms in Colorado Live. .org, and you can check that out, cclive.org. There's a great website that kind of explains everything we've been doing there. So the last 5 years, I've been working with the Colorado River BOCES. We're on the western slope of Colorado from DeBeck School District on up through the Roaring Fork Valley all the way to Aspen. There's 5 districts that we support with all their special ed, alternative licensure, career technical education, and online learning opportunities as well. So I started up both those programs in the last 4 years, both the EPIC program, Educational Pathways to Innovative Careers, or Career Tech Ed Opportunities, and CC Live, Classrooms for Colorado Live. Raised over $4 million in the last 4 years to build those up from scratch, build those staffs, build those programs, deliver those, and provide those for Western Colorado. In fact, CC Live is statewide. And in CC Live, we're live streaming educators straight into the classrooms for synchronous live instruction where they can't find any educators to hire. They can't find a math teacher. Some of these districts go 3-4 years without a math teacher, and that's where we can come in and help live stream a teacher into their classroom. Having a great time with that opportunity. That ties right into my dissertation work from 2010 to 2014, where I focused on a lot of online learning opportunities for students in high school, specifically in rural settings where they're removed from a lot of the metropolitan areas, and some online resources that make learning more exciting, more available, and more engaging for the students. So I did a lot of work with that. The CTE programming has really expanded. We've made national news coverage. NBC News has come to film us. PBS, Rocky Mountain PBS just did a special on us. last month because our construction pathways, we're building tiny homes. We're in 7 high schools building tiny homes currently. Sold 2 of them already to community in 2 different communities for affordable housing options. It's been a great learning experience for the kids, great for the program, and the community has a home that is affordable, small, but it is an answer for some affordable housing. And there's a lot of connections with that work to the trades, to the local industry partners, the business partners, to make work-based learning opportunities a reality for our students. So they're learning foundational work at the schools, but then they're also making those connections and getting work experience out in the field as well. On a personal note, my wife, Vicki, is very excited about this opportunity. She grew up in a small rural community of Ridgeway, Colorado. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. Her graduating class was 18 students. She went on with her scholarship to play basketball at CMU, Grand Junction, and that's where she's been ever since. So she's very excited about finding a community in Wyoming that reminds her of her childhood growing up experience. Colorado's changed a lot, especially on the western slope. It's not as rural and it's changed. I'll just say that it's different now. So the last few years, we've been keeping an eye on Wyoming to see what's coming available, to look for opportunities like this. And our youngest just left and went on to college. So now we have 4 children. They're all adults, but our youngest finally went on to college over at CSU. Don't hold that against me. I mentioned that earlier, and someone had over in Fort Collins, but he's stable there. He's having a good time. So now we're ready. Like, okay, now it's time. If we're going to go for it, let's go for it. And that's why I'm here. I'm excited about this opportunity. Do I still have time?
Got about 30 seconds.
Okay, well, I'll wrap it up there. I was probably speaking a little bit quickly there, but thank you.
Okay, the second portion of this evening is dedicated to questions from the panel. The candidate will have 3 minutes to answer each question. After we are done with the questions, the candidate will have 5 minutes for any closing remarks. We will now begin the questions. We would like to thank everyone who submitted questions online. Some of the questions could not be considered due to being geared towards only one candidate. Each panelist will ask a total of 2 questions, and we will start with panelist number 1 and move down the line. Then we will circle back to the panelist number 1 for them to start asking the next set of questions. Once again, I will be keeping track of your time. When I raise the yellow card, that means you have 30 seconds to finish your answer to the question. And when I raise the red card, you need to be finished.
Good evening, Dr. Cooper. My name is Joe Olivas. I'm work for Industrial Systems Consulting. We're a workforce development company. I'm working primarily in mining and energy and manufacturing. I'm also part of the executive leadership team for the Southwest Wyoming Manufacturing Partnership, which is an industry-led nonprofit that works with education to, reduce the workforce readiness gap. So our first question for you today is, how do you envision the future of Wyoming's education systems? And what steps would you take to prepare our district for these changes?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully optimistic when it comes to the future of Wyoming education systems. I know I'm very, very new here, and I've just done a little bit of research, and I've spent this one wonderful day in your school district and in your community. But I say I'm hopefully optimistic because at least we're starting from a higher playing field when it comes to funding. Wyoming in general is in the top 10% of funding for the nation. I'm going from Colorado, where we're in the bottom 10% of funding for the nation for school funding. So that's a good starting place. I understand there's some changes to the funding system and the mechanisms that equate to how much funding comes into our school district here, and there's going to be some adjustments. And that, combined with some declining enrollment and the possibility of closing one of the rural schools if no students enter into that school in the next year, those could have some financial impacts. And so we'll have to be prepared for that. So what steps do I take place to prepare the district for these changes? So let's be thoughtful about our budgeting. Let's be thoughtful about our staffing as we move forward. Let's try and retain those top quality teachers and top quality professionals in every aspect of our work here. And before we go and recruit and add new staff, let's be thoughtful about each step of the way, because if we're declining in numbers and we're having to be a little tighter on the numbers, the budget numbers going into next year, maybe instead of just refilling all those staff positions through attrition, let's be thoughtful. And if people are retiring, let's really take a hard look at that. Do we need to replace that, or can that position be absorbed with some other staffing arrangements? You know, those are things I've done in other districts where they've had declining enrollment and struggles with school funding from year to year. You have to be strategic. You have to be thoughtful, and always keep on top of mind what is best for the kids. And just it sounds simple, but I think a lot of times school systems lose sight of that, and they think too much about the adult needs. And so I will remind everybody, okay, what is best for the students here? If we're going to be eliminating this position for budget reasons, how can we absorb those needs of the students and still maintain high quality education all throughout our schools, throughout all of our systems that are in place, without doing any damage to the learning environment? It can be done. It's not easy, but it just takes some serious planning and some strategic thought when you have to reduce in the numbers of your staffing due to budgetary restraints. That's some of the preparedness. The other thing I'd like to do is really talk about the positive, optimistic outlook of our graduates. I want to harp on this a little bit because I'm passionate about this. I've seen too many graduates walk across the stage of graduation and they don't know what they're going to do. And to your point, your work with the workforce, that's why the last 5 years I've been heavily invested in creating career technical education opportunities for students. So students have a vision, have a career path. They get engaged with our industry partners. They actually do some work on the job site and some preparation at the schools, some work-based learning opportunities. So they earn industry credentials while they're still in school. So they know whether they like the job or not before they even graduate. That's number one. But number two, they're prepared. I mean, think of some simple things like for construction, OSHA Safety 10 certification. Every site requires it for their insurance. They need it. That's something we can accomplish with students while they're still in high school. And it just is one more certificate to help them be prepared for the workforce. More importantly, though, we want to give them exposure to multiple pathways. So that they have, running out of time. I want every graduate to graduate with a purpose. If you're going to college, have a purpose. Know why you're going to college. Don't just go for fun. If you're going to the military, great. Have a purpose. Have some outcomes that are going to be beneficial for you. And obviously the workforce. There's a lot of our kids that are ready to go into the workforce right upon graduation, and I want to support that. Thanks for the card. I was getting carried away there.
Hi, my name is Kelly Davis. I'm the branch manager of Y High Federal Credit Union here in Green River, and I'm also serving on the chamber board. My question is, describe your leadership style. How does your leadership style foster collaboration among staff, teachers, and administrators?
I'm a very, very collaborative leader, and you'll find that about me. I know I have many skills, and I've worked in many places, big and small, and I've worn many hats in the past 25 years. So my answer to this is that I'm going to be reaching out to leadership within the building. I may not have all the, I'm within the school district. I may not have all the answers. I will not have all the answers. So I'm definitely not someone who's going to march around to all the schools and all the different departments, say, I know what's best. I did this in Colorado and this will work here. I want to learn from the great staff that's here. What has been successful here in Sweetwater? What is working? What can we build upon? Tell me about the history of why you're doing things the way you're doing in the school building or in the transportation department, routes, maintenance department, what have you. So I can learn from that. Very collaborative. I'm very supportive and I'm very visible, meaning visibility. Obviously, you'll see me everywhere at not just activities, but in front of schools. You'll see me in and out of classrooms. Something I like to do is hang on to. I maintain my principal license and so that I can still do some teacher evaluations. So I can still be involved in the instructional practice because that's the foundation of what we're doing here. We want to create great learning opportunities for all our students. So how do we do that? We hire great teachers and we keep growing them up so they have engaging lessons and great learning opportunities for the students all the way through. So I want to be involved in part of that. Not all of it, but I want to be engaged in a handful of observations and follow through that process, because then I can model for the principals what the expectation is and what I'd like to see. It takes some of the workload off of the principals, where I'm taking on a few teachers that they would otherwise be required to observe all the way through the process. And best of all, it really keeps my finger on the pulse of what's super important in a school district is how well that quality of instruction is happening in all of the schools. Um, Very collaborative. I will be providing opportunities for leadership to grow within the school district. I'll find strengths within teachers and principals and everyone within the district, and we'll be able to elevate those strengths. Meaning, like I've worked with teachers in the past where they are really strong at a certain type of instructional delivery, certain subject area, they're really engaging. And I want to share that out. I'll create an opportunity where they can provide some professional development in-house and get other teachers excited about this model, this style of teaching, something that they're doing in the classroom that's having great success. We want to share out as much as we can. There's a lot of opportunities within districts, even at this size, to grow your staff with the talent you have inside the district. Then I can also leverage talent from neighboring districts as well. I'll be in conversations, collaborative leadership conversations with neighboring superintendents and others across the state. So if there's some great star teachers out there, some great ideas that are happening for their districts, I want to learn about that. I want to bring those opportunities here so that we can leverage those great opportunities for our kids here as well. Yeah, the last thing anybody would ever say about me is micromanaging. I'm just not that type of leader. I hire great people and I get out of the way. I don't leave you alone. I'll monitor, I'll check in, and I'll support when needed, but I want to give you space to be successful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Crystal Reyes. I'm the Director of Workforce Development for our, for Western Wyoming Community College. I also sit on the Green River Chamber Board and the Board for Southwest Manufacturing Partnerships. My question is, how would you balance transparency and confidentiality when making difficult decisions within the district?
Yeah, that's a good question because that is challenging as a superintendent or a school leader, district leader. So you want to be honest and clear and concise and timely with your communication. Something happens in the school system and you know words getting out there, rumors are getting out there, you want to get out in front of it and you want to be clear and you want to be honest and you want to share what you can share. If it's a personnel matter or something else that can't be shared immediately, obviously we can't share everything. But I'm going to be honest with you and tell you everything that I know about the situation currently. More information's coming in, but I'm also going to be clear with you that I can't quite tell you everything just yet. I'm working with the people involved and we will resolve the situation and there will be a report out communication later. Very good at communicating with the community. I'm very involved with the community as former superintendent. That's something I found very valuable is to get engaged with community leadership as much as possible. I joined the Rotary Club. I was president of the Rotary Club in Dolores. I joined the chamber actually as a school entity, even though the business is education. I didn't have a private business, but they still allowed me to join so I could participate in these conversations on a weekly basis, just with the weekly meetings. So at least I could give a short, quick update of current things that are happening in the school system. So you felt top of mind if you had new families that people that you hired and they brought families in and they asked you, how are the schools? You could honestly tell them, well, the superintendent was just here the other day and he shared these updates and you could give them a quick update of the highlights of what's happening in the schools without having to rely on rumors or maybe what you heard here or there or like a Facebook post or something like that. You would hear directly from me very often. I've also done, I see there's a radio talk show. I'm excited about that. I don't know how involved that is, but I saw that online. Okay, I don't see any agree. Okay, good. I'm like, maybe I was looking at something else, but it was something like monthly or every 2 weeks. And they were highlighting students sometimes they were highlighting staff about different things happening in the schools. I think that's a great opportunity. I've done that kind of thing before, talk with the local radio channel in town so that people, when they're commuting to work, they can hear us at 7:30 in the morning talking about something exciting in the schools or talking about something serious that needs some clarity, maybe a major projects going on or something, and to highlight, hey, some opportunity to come to this meeting tonight at 7, that kind of thing, advertising. Also social media, I've used that, television as well. Yeah, just very good communication all the way around. I think that's essential for being transparent and providing confidence with everyone in the community about any situation, the schools. No yellow card this time? All right. Getting faster.
Good evening. Welcome to Green River.
Thank you.
My name is Bonnie Tippy. I'm a small business owner. I have a place downtown.
Okay.
How would you handle conflict resolution within the school district? And can you provide an example?
Yeah. Unfortunately, this happens. And there's times that it happens between staff. I've also had it happen, between a parent and a principal before, and that's a tough one to mediate as well. So I have examples there. A lot of times, let's say example A, I've got a couple of staff members that aren't getting along, and they've been butting heads over a situation. They disagree on things, and for the most part, it's adult-centric needs, and they're just complaining about things. So I will ask them to individually tell me what is going on. You're tearing up the culture in this school, and your disagreements are becoming argumentative, and it's a problem in staff meetings. It's a problem with our school culture. You're breaking apart the team network that we have here. So let's have a conversation about that. I'll talk with them individually, take some notes, or ask them to write down their bullet points of what they're concerned about, and then I'll bring them together, and I will mediate through that, and I will help them come to a common ground, consensus around our students. That's usually the common ground. I can bring them back to, why did you join this school? Why did you take this job on? Why are you here? Let's think about the students. Let's bring it back to why we're here, and let's put our differences aside. Can we agree to disagree? Is there a way that we can work together moving forward without having conflicts blow up in the hallway or out in front at dismissal or at staff meetings? And then in some situations, very rarely, but I have had to transfer a staff member to another building, to give physical space, because there were just too much tensions going on. It was just unresolvable, at least in the small space. But in a larger district, I could move them to a different school. When parents have conflicts, like with administrators or the AD, and it's something about sports or something like that, I have been in those situations where I've had to mediate those discussions as well, and I have had some success with that as well. Those are very challenging and very heated, passionate. I'm a parent myself, and I want everything for my kids, so I can definitely sympathize with the parents that have great concerns about their son or daughter. Maybe there isn't, in their eyes, a fairness of how much play time they're getting in that sport or something like that. And I've been in those discussions. Now, as superintendent, I want those discussions to really happen at the coaching and the AD level as much as possible. But if they're escalating up, yeah, I get involved and I help mediate the situation and find some common ground and find some solutions. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I wasn't sure if you were looking for more. Hi, my name is Dan Stanton. I run a construction company out of Rock Springs, and I serve on a bunch of different boards in town. I even get to substitute teach for my wife in the district here now and then. So, question number 6. Green River is a close-knit community. How would you ensure meaningful engagement with families who may not traditionally be involved in school decisions?
Yeah.
Oh, I read the wrong question.
That's okay.
Because that was number 6.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll go 5. What strategies have you successfully implemented to improve student outcomes?
Yeah.
How would you adapt them to our district's unique needs?
A couple of things I've done as an instructional leader are creating professional learning communities. Now, this was years ago before PLCs were a thing. Now they're happening most everywhere, and I'm glad to see that they're implemented well here. That's providing professional learning community time for your teachers to collaborate in grade levels, subject areas, and even vertical alignment, right? So that there's some continuity with the instruction, so that we're preparing for what we're teaching at each level, whether we're going up vertically or across the whole grade level. So implementing things like that, allowing time for thoughtful professional development that's relevant, that ties back to the curriculum we're using, or maybe ties into the interventions that we want to see in place in our schools. Maybe it's individualized professional development for the unique needs of that educator. I've done a lot of work with that as well, because I'm former special ed, so I know about individual education plans. I know about individual needs of students, and that applies to teachers and staff as well. Everybody's unique. Everybody has strengths and needs, so I figure that out quickly when I'm talking with everybody I'm working with. And I find areas that I can help you grow in so that you can be more successful. Something I've become very good at over the last, 15 years of leading schools is really being able to encourage staff to be to put in their best effort every day, to have pride in their work, and then embrace some of the learning opportunities that are provided from our district. That might be a unique individual professional development opportunities for them. It might be district-wide, school-wide, but as long as we're seeing effort on their part and we're seeing some growth on the performance outcomes, right? Whether it's instructional or non-instructional, that's somebody you want to keep growing in your district. It's very, very rare that you see flat to declining performance in any of these departments, schools, non-instructional, and then you don't see any effort on top of that. And that's where hard conversations come in the springtime and say, you know, it's time for you to make your magic somewhere else. It's not working out here. It's very rare, but if I don't see effort and I don't see improvement with the outcomes, which if I see effort, you're going to have improvements with outcomes because you're going to have a lot of support. And then we can retain everyone and have a lot of success. You know, student outcomes, so I was a brand new principal on the Navajo Reservation back in 06, 07, 08. And I was charged with, and this is an Arizona public school, but on the Navajo Reservation, 2 hours southwest of Cortez, Colorado. So I could commute down for the week and I could really implement some change. They had a lot of funding, but they were scattered with all of their instruction. They didn't have any cohesion. So I very quickly implemented things like PLCs and professional development and just basic support for each individual teacher and improve the outcomes. They were on turnaround when I got there and I had 1 year to turn it around. They said, this is your one shot. You got one shot. If this school doesn't make it, you're out. And so I said, okay, I accept the challenge. And by the end of the year, we were able to turn it around. We were able to get out of the red zone and into the middle zone. I can't remember the exact terminology with the framework, but we were off the state's doomsday clock. I mean, this school had been in red for like 4 years. Oh, so anyhow, that was a successful instructional time. Thank you.
Hi, Scott. I'm John Freeman. I am the current chairman of the Green River Greenbelt Task Force, which is a nonprofit to develop the river corridor. And I'm also the treasurer of the Senior Citizen Center. Spent 43 years in education, 33 in the classroom, and then I worked for Western Wyoming Community College. I'm also a recovering politician. I was on the Western Community College board for 6 years, and I spent 10 years in the legislature. And don't ask me about external cost adjustments.
Good.
You've heard the question already. Green River is a close knit community. How would you ensure meaningful engagement with families who are not traditionally be involved in school decisions?
Yeah. This is important. How do we get everyone involved? We will, obviously we have opportunities at the schools to get involved. You have PTAs, PTOs, you have booster clubs. Those are lots of fun for fundraising for events and fundraisers for school needs. But then we also have school accountability committees and we also have district accountability committees, or at least I hope we have something of that nature here, because those are opportunities to bring parents in and get them involved. Like with schools, I like to think of the SACs as safety, academics, and cash. That's an easy way to remember it because a lot of parents like to talk about school safety and academics are important. So I like to talk about that, and they like to talk about budgets. And so it's a great opportunity for parents to be involved in something that's not just, hey, we're going to fundraise for some new athletic program or something like that. No, we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of the working parts of our school business or at the district level, at our district level business. And we want your input. So encourage them to come and participate in that conversation and those conversations. Sometimes there's a policy that's coming up for review. Great time to bring it to your SAC or your DAC, especially if that school is going to be affected by some new policy. So you get to involve parents with a lot of the decision making, a lot of the collaborative discussions around what's best for the students. And that's a way to get them involved. So how do we get to them? Those are a lot of your motivated parents that I've just talked about. They already are coming to the schools and they want to get involved. So how do we reach out to student or to parents that maybe aren't so traditionally involved? Well, I can go to them. I can find out where parents are that aren't traditionally involved. Are the local churches? Is it the local Lions Club? Is it at the diners? Do I need to go and have breakfast in the morning with a lot of the ranching community down at the local diners, or wherever they are not coming to our schools? Where do I go so I can meet with them and just make myself available, not push in and say, hey, I want to talk about school business, everyone, not push into their agenda or push into their social time at a diner or anything, but be present, be available. And a lot of times they'll embrace the conversation. They'll say, tell us about what's going on. And so I go to where they are to get them involved. I encourage our principals to get actively involved in the community as much as possible, any of our leadership to get involved in some capacity throughout the community, because you can't do it all as a superintendent, but I can do a lot of it, but I can't do all of it. I know that's a big part of my role, but all of us as school leaders and district leaders can do a little bit to get a little bit engaged. And maybe it's get engaged with your school, with your personal students program. Maybe they're in scouts, maybe they're in a club, maybe they're whatever. And you as a parent, but also a school leader, school district leader can advocate and just disseminate some positive information about the things we're doing in the district. So we reach out to the community members that are not traditionally coming to our schools to participate. So we find out where they are. Thank you.
Okay. Question 7 is, what role do you see for the school district in addressing workforce readiness and partnerships with local industries?
Well, I've been doing a lot of this lately, and I'm very excited that you have a stable, good foundation of career technical education already happening here. I've seen it, and there's opportunities to grow those opportunities as well. And recently, this district has provided the ability for students to be released for work-based learning opportunities. Excellent. Colorado just recently allowed us to allow for credits to be earned for students that are working on the job just a few hours a week, not half the school day, but we can now provide credits within our graduation requirements that apply to graduation requirements for students that want to get work experience in their junior and senior years. Great opportunity. So I've done a lot of work with building up the foundation of career technical education programs within the school systems and in middle schools as well, because I think some learning can happen in the middle schools, and especially here where you have an old high school that's converted into middle school. Now you have more space. So you have anytime you have space, and at elementary, you have things called maker space. That's kind of like the STEM initiatives for elementary schools. I'm sure you've heard of something like that up here. So you can do career technical education, fun STEM learning at the elementary level. And a lot of times that comes in more fourth, fifth grade, some career exploration. They get to the middle school, maybe they're getting their hands on some learning in the trades as well. And some job visits can actually happen in a field trip type form in the middle school. And then you get to the high school, and now you're getting some more robust learning opportunities with the career pathways and construction and autos and welding. Those are 3 that I heard about right over here. Excellent. And I've also been working with small engines and aviation as well. It's a couple more fun pathways that we could bring in here. Medical tech is a big pathway that kids are really excited about. And what's fun about that one is you want to get them exposed to that as early as possible, because there's always one of them that's like, I can't do blood. So you want to get them into the tech clinics. And I saw we have a clinic here. We can partner there. We have some students that are interested. Let's get those opportunities so they can see the realities of the work and know before they apply for a job at 18 plus years old that that's maybe not for them. But a lot of times it is for them, and they're really excited. And then that's a carrot, that's a hook. They're excited about learning. They're coming to school every day because they're so motivated. I'm going to be a nurse, or I'm going to be a doctor, or I'm going to be an auto mechanic or a pilot. They have a dream now, they have a purpose, and that connects them with the learning. Why am I still here? Because by the time they get to high school, some kids are like, oh my gosh, it's for their young minds, it feels like an eternity to graduation. But if you can create some great carrots and help them visualize what they can be when they grow up and give them those opportunities now when they're 14, 15, 16, 17, that keeps the engagement up. That helps the whole structure of your school. That helps attendance, that helps outcomes. There's tons of studies out there that show that students that participate in at least one CTE class during their high school career are so many more times, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but so many more times successful in college. So even if they don't go right in the trades, they go to college because they took a career technical education pathway course for a semester. They are many more times successful in college because it builds the work ethic for our students. And it's just great opportunities for kids. Thanks.
How do you prioritize budget allocations to ensure maximum benefit for student learning and development?
Yeah, so I talked just a little bit about that. Okay, something I didn't mention is the big picture. When you're looking at your budget, right? $33 million here, a lot of money, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that you need to pay for. One of the biggest components of your budget is people in a school district. In some districts, it's 75, 80%. And a lot of those people are staff that are directly impacting student outcomes. They are in the school buildings teaching. So how do you prioritize? You take a look at your values as a district, your strategic plan, your goals, your North Star. You make sure that's present and you're aware of that. So when you're budgeting, you're making sure that you're applying the dollars to where your goals are, your values are. You are always reflecting on that. When you're looking big picture, I'm talking high level here, you're thinking, okay, we've got to make these big achievements. We want to boost our student outcomes academically, social, emotionally, career, technical education, preparedness, workforce readiness, preparedness. We want to have them better prepared. How are we doing that? Are we applying our dollars to those outcomes? Because if we're not being intentional with our budgeting, then how is this going to be achieved? And so getting back to the staffing and the people involved, like I started this conversation, that's a big part of your budget. So if your priorities are increasing career technical education opportunities and workforce readiness, then we need to see a shift of priorities of those budgets and those staff towards those fields. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, we all saw this across the nation, a big push towards college for all, math, science, reading. It was all just academic focus, and a lot of the trades and a lot of the skills in the trades were diminished and deleted, and dollars were pushed into college for all. Not 100%, but dollars were pushed in that direction. And it's sad because now here we are, the pendulum swinging back because we don't have essential workers. We don't have a workforce, and the community is crying out. You've got to do something, high schools and middle schools. You've got to prepare these kids so they can be these essential workers that we need, electricians, plumbings, et cetera, et cetera. So let's shift your dollars into those fields so we're hiring high quality educators that can teach those career trades. We're putting dollars in there for the equipment, and a lot of that equipment, a lot of those one-time purchases you can get through Perkins funds. You can get through a lot of career tech ed grant opportunities. I've applied for and achieved a lot of those grants. Capital grabs like that for career is easy. Harder for career technical ed, easy. Then it's easier than finding the great staff. That's where some hard work is going to be. Where do we find these exceptional educators that are passionate about the career trades? They are great at making connections with kids, and they can develop programs in a hands-on opportunity learning environment. Like, you have some great pathways already started. Let's scale that out a bit. I'm hearing and I'm seeing a lot of desire for that work, and I'm very excited about it. So thank you.
What innovative strategies have you used to secure additional funding or grants for a school district?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I used to think it was innovative, but I've applied for over 25 grants in the last 4 years and have achieved a lot of them, over $4 million in grants from the state, federal level. The county commissioners are great people to reach out to, at least where I live. We have federal lands. Maybe you have something similar around here. The county commissioners a while back decided to take their federal land dollars that they got because you couldn't pull property tax funding from that. So the feds pay for those federal lands. The commissioners consolidate that into a grant program. and they encourage the schools to apply. So we can go and apply for up to $100,000 every 6 months. That's a large grant, and then a $25,000 mini grant. So every 6 months, we're landing those. In addition to that, having conversations with the commissioners, they now have incorporated EPIC, Educational Pathways to Innovative Careers, into the Garfield County Commissioner annual budget. We are $100,000 strong in that budget. No grant needed. We just need to show up, share what we're doing, celebrate what we're doing, and they say, great, here's another $100,000 from the county commissioners. What's really neat about that is when your county and your community is so passionate about the trades and they want to see some effort done there, they will put the money in there when they have opportunities like that, like federal grant money or some other pockets. And if the commissioners aren't doing this, I can work with them on that, to talk with them about these opportunities where you can take some of your budget and create a grant funding opportunity. And it's not just for schools, they do it for municipalities as well. A lot of times the cities and the towns will be applying because they need a new snowplow or something like that, and they'll get a grant for a snowplow. And I'm there applying because I want to build an aviation mobile simulator that I want to take around to all the schools, and they'll give me some money towards that project. So those are just some innovative ideas. On a large level, we've achieved $1.5 million from Opportunity Now grant. That was a collective opportunity from the state of Colorado and a few other states involved to try and boost career opportunities for students and make more connections to the workforce, to build out the workforce, because states in the West and everywhere, but a lot out here, are realizing we don't have a workforce. We've got to do something. So some large funds were put together around Opportunity Now. I applied. We got 1.5 million for that, stretched over 3 years. Great opportunity to then employ some staffing so I can hire some great educators to implement all this great work. I could buy some equipment. It was just a great opportunity. We got $1 million straight from Senator Bennett's office, just because it's called Congressional Direct Spending, and every year the feds allow their senators to have up to $1 million in grant funding for initiatives like career development. Like, great, got to know his staffers, got to know his people, and applied and achieved $1 million for EPIC to build out these programs. That's another 3-year opportunity, again, employing staff, building out programs. So those are just some quick ideas about some grant opportunities and ways locally and at federal level to bring in some dollars that directly apply to the workforce. Everybody is top of mind about this need at all levels. So if you provide solutions and creative opportunities, they step up and funding comes forward.
How would you support teachers and staff in implementing new teaching methods or technologies, particularly in a rural district?
Did a little bit of this over the last 15 years. It started a lot with my dissertation work in 2010 through 2014. That's what I studied. How do we capitalize on online learning opportunities and tech to help support rural high schools in Colorado? So that was my case study work. That was my research. I dove in deep there. And then after achieving the doctorate, I just kept going with it. I really was passionate about it. I still am passionate about today. Then 4 years ago, this opportunity comes up. The state's wanting some innovation around synchronous learning opportunities where there's streaming teachers in. They don't know how to do it. You look across the nation, there's not very many good examples of this working. Our BOCES reached out and said, look, we'll be the hub for this initiative. Please give us this little bit of funding. It wasn't much. I think it was like 300,000 or something, enough for me to hire just a couple of great people over a multi-year period so we could build this program up from scratch. cclive.org. Check it out. It's amazing. We are live streaming teachers into rural classrooms. So that's a neat opportunity. Beyond that, we got another small little grant opportunity from the state last year to hire an AI coordinator. Artificial intelligence, big scary thing. Everybody was like, what do we do? Do we not allow it in our schools? Do we allow it? How do we? It reminded me of when the internet rolled out in the 90s, in the late 90s, mid 90s. I remember going, everybody was scared about the internet. Now here we are and we can't live without it. We've got it in our pocket everywhere we go. So here comes AI. So how can we safely implement the AI tools into our schools? So we hired an AI coordinator who's passionate and she just dives deep into this work. She provides free professional development across the state virtually on the first Mondays of every night in Colorado. It's outstanding. And her professional development is all around how to use AI tools to be more efficient for teachers. Right? More efficient with your workload, more efficient with writing IEPs. I wrote a lot of IEPs by hand back before they were even on the computer. Now they're on the computer, but even better, now you can use AI tools to streamline that and make that much more efficient because so much of that work is repetitive and takes hours and hours. And you can have AI dish it out quickly. Then you can read back over and edit and personalize it to that student in a fraction of the time that it would take for you to prepare for that IEP meeting. That's just an IEP example. There are also a lot of safe tools for students to use with AI coming in through technology so that they can access learning opportunities even more. And so this AI coordinator has been a great leader in learning for us and has kept us on the front edge of what's possible with all the latest technologies. And I got to tell you, I've learned a lot. I've taken her classes and it's amazing. So what would I bring to the teachers here around technology and these opportunities? I would bring a lot of similar opportunities to the teachers here if they're ready for it. You know, we have to make sure people are ready and to embrace the new technology and want to try this. Not everybody's ready for it. So you've got to find the people that are ready for it and help them advance their learning forward with technical advances, AI, et cetera, and coach them on that and provide those opportunities because then you boost engagement. Engagement in our CC Live classes is through the roof. Our scores are outperforming all the traditional regular classrooms. Thanks. I saw the red card. It was almost up. That was close.
I think I'll get the right question this time.
Okay.
What steps would you take to promote the mental health and well-being of students and staff?
Super important, something I like to do. So I handed out, and we can talk about this another time, but it's a 90-day entry plan for me as a superintendent in a new community. The very, very cool thing I'm realizing, I don't know anybody here. I don't have family here. I don't have friends here. I don't owe anybody anything. This is wonderful. We all get to start on a fresh, clean slate. So this entry plan is all about me getting to know you and actually starting in the springtime. I've blocked out some dates so I can be up here and get to know everybody. Part of that is warming up to the staff and making sure that I understand their needs and getting to know them. It's a listening tour. It's a lot of listening. I'm not going to talk like this. I'm talking right now more than I'm ever going to talk in the springtime and into the summertime. But I want to hear from the community. I want to hear from the staff. So as far as the staff goes, I want to know where the needs are. So as far as helping the staff with mental health needs and wellness needs, I like to start with a barbecue at the beginning of the year or some event. Bring your families before the school year starts. I want to get to know you on a personal level. I want everybody to we'll have some new staff. I'll be new. So let's all get to know each other. Bring your spouse, bring your kids. Let's have fun. Let's have some hamburgers, hot dogs, whatnot, and have a good time. So at least we have a fun interaction and we get to know each other on a personal level before it's all business, right? And then throughout the year, you have to remind everyone we're on a team. And so what are some things that we can do to build cohesion? I've played dodgeball. I've played softball with the staffs. I've done all kinds of creative things to make sure that we're still having fun. I want the staff to have an enjoyable time, to feel like they're part of a fun, engaging learning environment that goes for them as professionals and also for their students. And I want them to feel supported. So if you're a new teacher, I want to assign you a mentor, whether that's funded or not. Maybe this district has some funding mechanisms. I've worked with that before. The mentor gets some funding because they're going to do a little extra work. Sometimes mentor teachers just want to step up and help. And that young teacher, that new teacher has somebody to go to every day. In the beginning, there's going to be questions. And so they have a mentor teacher they can connect with right away, which is super powerful and helpful. Then they can also go to their principal and they can also go to other teachers in the building, but at least they have a first stop mentor teacher to help them. I want to make sure there are mechanisms in place if us teachers stressed out, that they know they can get help. I don't want to have any teacher so stressed out that they're thinking really negative things and they're going to be harmful to themselves or other. That's terrible to let things get that elevated. So let's make sure there are safe mechanisms in place. I saw at the middle school, just even a great comfort zone with some massage chairs. My wife did that in her school. She has an elementary school. She's assistant principal and currently she got donations for massage chairs and created a safe room where teachers could take a break when they actually had a break, they could go in there and sit in that chair for 20 minutes, get a massage, and then get back to it. So they could loosen up and not be so tense and stressed. Just thinking about making sure that they're okay, I got the yellow card, that their health is in good shape. I have a lot of life coaching discussions with employees. I exercise every morning to give me natural energy all day. It's something simple, and I'll talk with employees about that. Like maybe find some recreation, hiking, anything, lifting weights, a sport. Okay, I'm out of time. Thank you. I can't bank some of those minutes from the first few questions. Just save them for later. I need my own cards here. I cash in a minute.
We have a wonderful green belt that you can exercise it on every morning.
Excellent.
Small districts often struggle with attracting and retaining high quality teachers.
Mhm.
What strategies would you implement to hire, support, develop, and train teachers and staff within the district?
Yeah. Great question. And this is a struggle all over in every state. So obviously there's some things that teachers look at when they're looking at your district. It might be your performance frameworks. They want to see how well the kids are doing. It might be the new facilities. It's definitely going to be the salary schedule. One of the top three things they're going to look at. Are we competitive with that salary schedule? We don't have to be the best, but we got to be close. We got to be at least competitive with our neighbors. So that's not a discussion. Okay, I can get the paid the same or within a few $100s here as I can over in Rock Springs. Okay. So that's take that out of the equation. Now I'm looking at facilities, maybe. You've got great facilities here. I'm looking at opportunities maybe to coach. I want to coach. I'm looking at opportunities for my kids. I have young kids. What opportunities are in these schools that my kids would be excited about? Theater. My youngest was a big theater guy and got an outstanding theater program over here. That theater is amazing. Very cool. So there's a lot of kids that aren't all into these sports and they're into different types of things. And you have a lot of those great, exciting things here to attract. So that will attract teachers as well that are coming with young children. The other thing I did that was fairly innovative one year in Dolores, we were going to lose 4 teachers. They were all having babies. I was like, this is exciting, but that's my entire 3rd grade. We only have 4 teachers in 3rd grade. I think they were all in 3rd or 2nd and 3rd. But I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And they're like, well, we'd love to keep teaching, but there is no childcare in this town. I'm taking the next 3 years off. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they were just 5 years into the profession. They were all warmed up and they were some of our best. And I'm like, okay, we're going to create a childcare center now. So I went to the preschool director, and this was like in February, March. I said, what can we do? You have a great preschool here. You are innovative. Help me out. Can we create a childhood center? Yes, we can. We found a modular, a double wide on our campus. It wasn't being used. It was kind of a field house for football, kind of not. Anyhow, I'm like, that's not being used. Let's find, and we found volunteers in the community who move modulars. They moved it for free. Found volunteers to dig trenches, volunteers to put in the electrical, the plumbing, sewer, everything. We built a childhood center in 6 months, and it got it all approved by the state and attached it, teed it right up to the preschool. So we had a preschool director. We already had great teachers, 20 years experience going on there, hired some more educators that were experienced with early childhood, like 6 months to 3.5 months old. And we created 12 slots. So not a ton, but it was a start. We only charged what the state would allot families for childcare, and it was $36 a day, and that's the flat rate recharge. So if you had the ability to have a credit from the state, you could have your child there for free. If you were a teacher, you only had to pay $36. 2 of those 4 teachers enrolled their newborns in the program, and then the other 2 left and went to be full-time moms, which was a great opportunity for them. And then we attracted 2 more teachers that had newborn children because they saw an opportunity that they didn't have at any of their other districts. Right next door to where they were teaching, they would have a high quality childcare center that they could go visit their kids on their breaks and before and after school and everything. There's just not enough time for these stories. Getting the cliff notes here, very fast bullet points.
Okay. How do you plan to support extracurricular programs, including athletics, arts, and clubs, while maintaining a strong academic focus?
They go hand in hand. Honestly, they do. I think when you have a lot of good extracurricular activities and you have student engagement, and I haven't asked this question yet, but I'm hoping we're at least 80% engagement at our high school with extracurricular activities. Because when you're 80 and 90% engagement level, meaning the students the student population, 80–90% are actively engaged in extracurricular, you will have amazing outcomes. The reason for that is they have that, like with the work-based learning experience, I thought they got that hook, they've got that engagement. They are very excited about coming to school because of that theater program. They're very excited because of the band program, the choir program. Yes, the football, baseball, tennis, all the regular stuff that we have, but also the smaller programs. I heard about pottery. I heard about other exciting elective opportunities that are within the school program at the high school there and at the middle school too. They're very important. And this is going to be tough as we're looking at budget constraints moving forward. How do we protect all that? Because I know if you eliminate the extracurriculars or you eliminate those fun electives that maybe could be, pulled back on, you're going to lose kids' interest. And if you lose kids' interest, you're losing attendance, you're losing engagement, all of those outcomes and those positive indicators slide and they're less positive. So it's super, super important. So I'm very protective of all the programs that we have in place. I'll give you an example too. In Little Dolores, we had some parents come forward and they wanted a girls golf program. And they said, there's no girls golf program in the entire county. And I'm like, well, we're kind of small, and golf really down here, no one plays it. No, these girls play golf and they're really good. And then they started to say, well, look at your Title IX balance. Okay, let's look at how many sports you have with the boys and how many sports you have with the girls. Okay, there's a little bit of an imbalance here. Okay, we need to do something. And then they came forward and said, look, here's the research showing half of all scholarships for golf go unclaimed every year in the United States. And I was like, oh, you just got my attention. You mean we could have a handful of girls be a CHASA certified golf team and compete? And if they do moderately well, they'll get recognized by scouts. And some of them might actually get full rides to, there was like Kentucky and Tennessee, some Midwestern states that were offering full ride golf scholarships. I'm like, okay, let's have a discussion around this. Let's build up. How does this look? Can we be cost effective about this? We built up a plan and then we eventually took it to the school board for approval. And we had just a handful. It was like 4 to 6 girls that played golf, but then they would go off and play all across the state and they had a great time. And one of them did earn a scholarship after 2 years in the program. But it was just an example of protecting those extracurricular activities, making sure we have an appropriate balance with Title IX to make sure we have equitability with our boys' sports and our girls' sports, and just providing those opportunities. Those students might have transferred to Durango. They had a girls' golf program. And it was an hour away, ridiculous, but their parents were that motivated about their child getting that exposure and that opportunity, and we could create it for peanuts. It really didn't cost much for them to travel. They all jumped in the Suburban and their coach drove, so very low cost to compete. A lot of the students provided all their own equipment. We got them some shirts, we celebrated them when they won. And it was just fun. It was a lot of opportunity. So just an example of, red. Gosh darn it. I thought that was going to be yellow. I didn't catch the yellow one up.
Okay, this is our last question. Can you provide an example of how you have successfully partnered with local businesses or organizations to benefit a school district?
Yeah, I think I've provided some of those examples, but I'll tell you one I haven't shared yet was automotives. A lot of fun. About 4 years back, some of the schools were wanting automotive programs because they had kids that were interested in automotives. And at the time, we didn't have a lot of grant dollars then. We were still brand new. In fact, it was just me really in the program trying to be innovative and creative on how to build up these CTE programs and applying to grants. Didn't have the dollars yet. So we started to reach out to the community industry partners and found that the service centers at the dealership in Glenwood Springs, so there's multiple, there's Subaru, Honda, Chevy, Toyota, and had conversations with their service managers, oil changes, tire rotations, nothing super complicated, just the day-to-day stuff. And I said, what if we worked out some master agreements? We made sure insurance was taken care of. We would have a lot of conversations and a lot of hand holding with this process, and we'll bring over just a couple of students at a time, and you can actually add them to your workforce, give them a little bit of exposure with the mechanics on staff, and let's make sure it's all safe and functional, and let's build this work-based learning opportunity for these kids. That started in one of those dealerships. I think it was Toyota, if I remember correctly, with just 2 kids. And today we have 12 to 16 kids. Doesn't sound like a lot, but this is a small area, 12 to 16 kids every semester participating in every one of those dealerships. It's just an outstanding program that cost very little amount. And it was a great example of that collaborative effort of industry needing, because they were desperate. They're like, we hire someone from Wild Tech, we hire someone from Denver, from Phoenix, and they hate it here. They have no family here. They hate the snow. They're whatever the excuse was. Within a year, they're gone. And we've invested all this time and energy training them up. I want to take a chance on your kids because your kids are well supported. One, you support them getting ready for work. Two, they have family supports in the area. Three, housing. They already have a bedroom in their parents' house that their parents can let them stay a little longer while they're getting this work experience. And within 3 years, they're making $100,000, because what would happen is they'd start them at $18 an hour. They would grow to 24 in the first year, and then 36, 38 very quickly after that with overtime opportunities. And they'd be crossing into the six figures by the time they're 20, 21 years old. So then they can get their own place and get out of mom and dad's house. So just a great opportunity of collaboration. That's a small example that actually exploded pretty quickly. And there's other examples like that. And I learned very quickly how important it is to reach out to the community partners that are needing a workforce. Let's work together. We can make this happen. Our kids are interested in your industries. Let's make this happen for them. And then you get a great workforce. Imagine 12 weeks, 14-week long program. That's the longest interview in the world, right? With that student. So when that student's getting closer to 18 and hireable for your business, if 18 is a requirement, a lot of times for the industry trades, it is. You know who you're getting. You've worked with them for 12 weeks. You know they're reliable. You've trained them up, and you're ready to take that investment.
Thank you, Scott. We will now close out this evening with closing remarks. You will have 5 minutes for your closing remarks, and I'll be keeping track of your time.
Thank you. I know you will. So did you start right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting for you to.
Oh, you want me
I
to?
wait for you to start talking. Yeah.
Oh,
you're
and then
good.
you start the timer?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me think for a minute. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'll get started. We can go ahead and start now. I just want to say thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. I applied almost a couple months ago, and to be honest, I kind of forgot. I thought, they're not interested. I haven't heard anything, and I kind of stopped following what was happening here. And I just thought, okay, that's okay. We're still in Colorado. We still have great jobs. My wife and I are still educators and really enjoying the work we're doing now. And then I got the call last week, and I was like, oh my God, this is exciting. Like, I've got to change my schedule. I'm going to get up there. I want to see what's happening. At the very least, I want to learn about this Wyoming school district, whether I land the position or not. I've always been very interested in Wyoming schools, and specifically right here, just over the border. You're just, you've got great things going on in this community and in this school district. So I'm very excited about the opportunity to apply, to be a finalist, to be here to interview with you and the community, with the students today. We're so wonderful learning from the staff today, the administration team. We had lunch together, had great conversations. Looking forward to board conversations later on tonight. And just the students all around, everywhere I went, I was super impressed. Very polite, very prepared, looking you in the eye, saying hello, good morning. Love that. Love that with our kids. Staff as well, greeting me everywhere, no one shying away. And maybe because I was wearing a tie, maybe because they knew the new guy was coming around, but I don't think so. I've walked through schools before, and some people kind of turn the corner and walk. They don't want to engage. They're in their own world, and that's not happening here. You have such a great community, great bunch of educators, great facilities. It's just great all around. I'm very impressed. So I'm very excited for this opportunity. I think I shared out just about all the little nuanced skills I've had over the last 25 years that I can bring to the district. Lots of creative ideas. And I just want to let everyone rest assured I'm not someone who comes in and does dramatic change. I want to come in and understand the great foundation of learning that we have in the community, the great relationships we have, and then build upon that. Because I have some ideas, but I'm not going to be steamrolling them forward. I want to learn, what we have here. And if I get an opportunity, I'm going to want to try and improve where we can, because I want the best for this school district. I am very impressed with everything going on here. And like I told you earlier, my wife is like, you go get that. I want to be there. She wants, the Western Slope has grown a lot. It's become a big city in Grand Junction now, and it's just different. And now that the kids have grown and gone, she's like, let's do this. Let's go. We've always dreamt of moving to Wyoming and working up there. Let's get engaged. So here I am. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for dedicating and volunteering your time. This is very important work. You've got a big decision to make. This is a big seat to fill, big shoes to fill, very important role, and I don't take it lightly. I'm very dedicated to this work. I'm very passionate about it. If I haven't come across with that, I hope I have. This is fun for me. I love this type of work. For me to do 80+ hours a week is no big deal because I don't feel it. I get energized by this work. So I'm passionate about it. So thank you.
On behalf of the Green River Chamber, we would like to say thank you to the candidate, panelists, and everyone else for being here this evening. We really appreciate everyone's participation. Have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.